Welcome, YouTube. This is a Deaths of Athazar card game, and this is a match between Ahmed Al Harbi and Sami Al Dossary. These are two intermediate players. Both Ahmed and Sami have picked up the game fairly recently, and there are two players who have enjoyed the game and become kind of like aficionados. Uh, because Deaths of Athazar is a brand new card game here in Saudi Arabia. Uh, it's starting to get a lot of traction. So as we start to make the card game a little bit more well known in the kingdom, more players will start to play it. And so far, it has gotten quite a few followings in El Khobar, where the game was originated. Most of the games are played at Versus Game Room in El Khobar. So these are some of the games that we've recorded. This is maybe the fourth game we've recorded. We've tried to record it with with a phone, but we found out that that's it's gonna well, we needed a little bit more cameras than we needed, but that's okay. So we've decided to just go ahead and kind of like document their moves and kind of put it uh, visually on the screen, make it easier for editing. All right, and that's the Athazar is a very simple game. Each player is dealt 7 cards, and then the game is divided into 3 phases: the pass phase, the play phase, and the deal phase. And the object of the game is to try to get rid of all the cards in your hand by either killing cards out of your hand or using disruption cards or passing your turn. All right, so let's just go ahead and take a look at this game and kind of analyze the game, and hopefully you enjoy it and pick up the game as well. All right, so first off, each player was dealt 7 cards. So uh, Sammy, so this was Sammy's dealt first 7 cards, and then Ahmed was given here. All right, as we can see, Sammy has 2 assassins and a magician, 2 sailors, and Ahmed had a triplet of assassins, a magician, and a set of sorcerers. And it looks like Ahmed has the advantage so far because there's 3 assassins, because assassins can kill any card out of your hand. Uh, but also, we have each one of these guys have magicians, and magicians can eliminate 2 cards that are the same. Uh, and even though we can see the cards on the screen, they cannot see each other's hand. All right, so it's not like the cards are played out on the table and they can see everything. So let's go ahead and see what they do here. The first phase is the pass phase. So each player takes 1 card and pass it to the other face down. However, if they have a hunter card, they're allowed to pass 2. But none of these players had hunters yet, so um, they'll just go ahead and pass 1. And usually the strategy is to pass the weakest card, but not all the time. Like I said, Ahmed and Sami have been playing this game a while, and they've kind of learned which cards to pass. All right. All right. So after the pass phase, Sami passed over a wise man, and Ahmed passed over the brawler. And Sami will play first, and he decided to play the magician, killing off 2 sailors in his hand. And Ahmed responds with assassin killing a sorcerer. Um, a lot of people at the table try to figure out why he would do that. I mean, with if he has a magician, and why didn't he get rid of the either the 2 sorcerers or the 2 assassins? Actually, that's a pretty good move because one of the strategies you want to do is when you want to try to kind of reserve one of your disruption cards, which are the white edge cards. You want to kind of use them against your opponent just in case your opponent gets down to maybe one or two cards, and you can prevent him from win, from winning the game, and he can just go ahead and use the magician and assassin later when maybe he gets down to four cards, and then he can just go ahead and kill off those three and be left with one card. All right, so that was the end of that round, and at the end of that round, this was their so Ahmed had five cards left, Sammy had four, and now the deal phase, each player got an extra card. Sammy was given a renegade, and Ahmed was given a sailor. All right, and then the process starts over again with the pass phase. Now I believe now the best thing to do for Sammy is to pass the brawler, and Ahmed passed the sailor. So I think that's what they did. They switched over the brawler and the sailor, and because Sammy went first, Ahmed gets to go first on this turn, and he decides to play the sorcerer, which the sorcerer allows you to take a card from your hand and give it to the player. So he gave Sammy the wise man, and Sammy responded by killing off Sailor with a renegade. Okay. Then in the next deal, Ahmed gets an archer and Sammy gets this another sailor. All right, they switch over. Ahmed gets the wise man. Sammy gets the brawler, I believe. And so at this phase, we had two assassins. It's Sammy's turn. So um, he decides to play the brawler, kills the sailor, which is a good move because you want to try to keep the assassins as much as possible because since assassins can kill any card, you want to kind of keep them near the end of your hand when you have less and less hands. Um, and Ahmed actually did a surprising move. He killed off two of his assassins with the magician, leaving him with two cards and Sammy with three. So he was in the lead at the end of this round with two cards left. And then on the deal, Sammy gets another magician, which was pretty lucky actually, and Ahmed Harbi gets a brawler. Now, because this is the pass phase, you have to figure out which card is best to pass off. Now, Sammy has a very powerful warrior card which could kill any card under 15. But because he has an opportunity to get rid of three cards, he's just going to pass this powerful card over to Ahmed. But that could be a very dangerous move because a warrior can kill pretty much most cards in the deck except for just a few. So it was kind of a risk for him to do that, hoping that Ahmed would pass him something else. But uh, I guess he feels like he had no choice. So at the end of the pass phase, he passed the warrior, and Ahmed did the a basic move, which was to pass off the weakest card, which was the brawler. And then Sammy, of course, Ahmed played the warrior, kills the archer, leaving him with one card left. And Sammy decides to play the magician, getting rid of two cards, and each man was left with one. Now, this was the moment of truth. Ahmed had one card, Sammy had one card. And it kind of depends on what comes out of the deck now on the deal phase. All right, so let's see what happens. Sammy gets an assassin, and Ahmed gets a hunter. All right, hunter. Remember, is a card that you can pass. Um, Allows you to pass the hunter plus one, so you can pass over two cards. Now, at this point, Sammy and Ahmed were kind of figuring out what they were going to do here. Sammy because he has an assassin, no matter what card he gets coming in, uh, he's going to be able to kill it off and win. Uh, and I think Ahmed was thinking about that. All right, because when you're down to two cards left, and he was counting the cards, I believe, because he Ahmed is very good. He knows how many assassins are in the card, and he knew how many assassins had been killed up to that point, and he wasn't sure whether what Sammy had. So because he had this hunter, this is kind of going to save him a little bit, kind of um, delay the game. Because he had this hunter, he decided to pass both of his cards over, and Sammy go ahead and passed over one. All right, and because he was able to pass over two extra cards, now Sammy has three to Ahmed's one, and now it's the play phase. But so Sammy decides to go ahead and kill off the hunter. Now, because Ahmed has one card, he can't get rid of that one card. He has a brawler, and get rid of the brawler, he has to have another sailor in his hand to kill him off, and you just can't lay down a killer card on the table. So they were down at a moment of truth again with Ahmed with the brawler and Sammy with the wise man. And again, this is a very tricky situation because now they have to wait for the deal. And on the deal, Sammy got the prince and Ahmed got the sailor. All right. Because Sammy has two disruption cards, he doesn't really have an opportunity to kill a card out of his hand. And so he's going to have to decide which card to pass over. Luckily, because he has that prince, he can stop Ahmed from winning. So that's to so now after the pass phase, Sammy passes over the wise man, and Ahmed passes over the brawler. Okay, and now on Sam's turn. Now the next person to go, uh, Ahmed. Uh, it was Ahmed's turn, and Ahmed decided to play the wise man. The wise man allows him to take from the deck, and on the taking from the deck, he gets another hunter card. All right, and Sammy, of course, he's just gonna kind of try to put the nail in the coffin by playing the prince. And when he played the prince allows Sammy to give Ahmed another card from the deck, giving him an extra card, and where he can get the advantage of having one card to three. But surprisingly, Ahmed gets the princess on the deal, and the princess is a card that can you can. It's like a joker. You can use her as any character in the deck as you like. And so, even though the prince was a good move for Sammy to hold Ahmed off, uh, but with that princess, it's going to be a little tricky. All right. Now on the deal phase, Ahmed gets another sailor. Sammy gets a sailor. All right. And notice Ahmed has two sailors and a princess, so he can get rid of all three of those cards because he um, can use the princess as a magician. All right, so on the pass phase, Ahmed decides to pass over the hunter, and Sammy passes over the brawler. All right. Remember, on the pass phase, it's mandatory that you have to pass at least one card during the pass phase. So even though you have a brawler and a sailor, and the brawler kills the sailor out of your hand, you can't really use it until after the pass phase. And since he was pretty much forced to pass over the brawler, um, so he couldn't really get rid of his hand. So at the end of the pass phase, Ahmed has the princess with the two sailors. So of course, he's going to go ahead and use that to reduce his hand down to one. And Sammy, of course, obviously has nothing. A hunter and a sailor can't do anything to each other. Hunters can't kill sailors. Hunters are basically only used just to be passing over an extra card, and sailors are just sitting duck from other cards. They don't really have much power in the deck. So at the end of that round, so Sammy had to pass his turn. Each one was dealt a card from the deck. Sammy got the Magician, and Ahmed got the Nine Warrior. All right, now Ahmed is in a real good position here. He has a Warrior and a Brawler, and a Warrior Nine is not that great of a killer, but with a value of 9, he can kill quite a few cards off. The only thing that could stop Ahmed, is if Sammy were to pass him a card higher than 9, but he didn't have anything higher than 9. So this was kind of like a tricky situation. So now Sammy had the Magician, a Sailor, and a Hunter. A Hunter will allow him to pass 2 extra cards. So now Sammy was thinking for a while before he decided to pass over, and uh, of course he decided to pass over the Hunter and the Magician. And Ahmed, took the easy route and passed over the Brawler, not knowing that Sammy had the Sailor in his hand. All right. So during the pass phase, Ahmed passed over the Brawler, which was pretty much the death knell of the game for him. Uh, he thought that by passing the Brawler, nothing was going to stop him because he was looking at the 2 hands. But when he saw those 2 cards from the Hunter, he thought, oh man, he made the biggest mistake of his life. And he did, because it was Sammy's turn on this round, and Brawler kills the Sailor, and he had finished his hand and he was out, and Sammy won the game, and Ahmed was left with just the Warrior, Magician, and the Hunter. And even though the Warrior can kill the Magician, he's still left with the Hunter at the end of the round, so there was no way he could win the game. So that was pretty much it. I hope you liked that analysis in the game. This is Deaths of Athazar card game, kind of a new card game in Saudi Arabia, created right here in Saudi Arabia with some of the themes of Arabia inside of the game. Uh, so we'll be showing more games of Deaths of Athazar on this channel. Hopefully, you will like it and watch the analysis, and also to pick up the game. The game can be found at doacardgame.com. That's doacardgame.com. All the information is down below in the link below the video. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like this game and you want to get more videos on Death of Athazar and analysis. So thank you for watching the channel.